I just got the new Vortex Red Dot sight, and I'm gonna be putting this onto the shotgun. This is my Franchi Affinity 3, and in order to put this on here, I'd mount it into these drill and tap holes. I have to take the Franchi apart. So I figured I'd do a separate video of a complete disassembly, reassembly, cleaning of the Franchi Affinity 3. So that's what this video is gonna be. I'm gonna take this shotgun downstairs, and we're gonna disassemble it, clean it, and put it back together and show you how simple that is. Let's do it. All right, first thing to take this apart, undo this right here. I purposely am doing this on a carpeted floor just to be able to put the components on there safely. One time I did this over some concrete and I ended up dropping a piece of it, so that's not ideal. And once you have that off, this whole front part of the gun is going to pull off. All right, this separates. This will slide down, and here's your barrel. Now at this point, you can see how this compresses from the spring right here. But in order to get the entire bolt out, essentially, and that action, you have to pull this bad boy right here. And be careful, this is what I did once. I pulled this without having my thumb right here. And if you do that, what's gonna happen is this is gonna fly off. And this thing right here, and this, which is arguably one of the more important components of the entire gun with the firing pin and everything, is gonna go flying out. And this thing flew out and it hit the concrete. So be very careful with that. Everything seemed normal when I did this the last time, so hopefully everything stays that way. Okay, so you got this. At this point then, the last part to take out is the trigger guard. So when taking out the trigger guard, there's a little pin right here. Simply got to push down on that pin to push it through. You can do either side. I'm just going to use a little pliers here. Push that through. You can see it coming through this way. Pull that out. Now my entire trigger guard can pull out. I pushed this button down just to make it easier to pull that through. And there we have it. Super quick, simple. I have the entirety of this thing disassembled. Obviously, I'm gonna get a oiled cloth in there and really clean that out, man. It's dirty. I haven't done this every year I've had this gun. So this is good that I'm doing this, honestly. I mean, there's a bunch of dirt in there, probably gunpowder and whatnot, so this will be great to do. I'm gonna just take a tattered part of an old t-shirt, put a little gun oil on this, and use this to really get in there and clean it out. Oh boy. Yeah, this needed to be done for sure. Now with this part right here, I wasn't sure if I wanted to take all of this apart and clean it, but I figured while I'm at it, I might as well. So you're gonna see the full bolt disassembly and reassembly too. Essentially this is the firing pin right here facing this direction. Before I do anything, pay attention to this line right there, facing downwards towards the back of the action, the back of the gun. That's important. So to start, I'm going to compress this. All right, and have my thumb right here, and I'm going to remove this pin. As soon as I pop that out, don't lose that. And the reason I'm holding this is because look at this firing pin. I didn't want that to spring back. This whole thing, that's the firing pin right there. So there's your There's your little tip of the firing pin that essentially makes the shell go off. Now I can remove, well, I can't remove this fully yet. I gotta get this thing out, and it should, there we go. Got that out right there. And once again, that arrow tells you how to reposition it to ensure the firing pin can go through there. And at this point, this entire part comes off. You can see now I'm going to be able to clean stuff like that. And finally, on the inside of this, there is the main spring. Now I don't know if it matters about what direction it goes in, but I don't want to take any chances. So I'm going to remember, as soon as I take this out, I'm going to remember that this part right here goes back in there. So I'm telling myself that so I myself don't forget. What I'm holding is the front of it. This is the back of it. How am I going to remember this? Left to right. There we go. Left is the back. So when I clean that and put it back in, I'm going to make sure I don't mess that up. Now that I've got everything out of here, I can clean this in a lot more detail. I just went and grabbed a headlamp. I can grab a headlamp to show you guys a little bit better. And for myself to see also where I got to clean up. I saw a video that someone talked about, like, to clean this, you can rinse it in boiling water. Personally, I don't want to mess anything with that. I'm just kind of getting every component I can. Eventually, I'll add a little more oil to this stuff. I actually just went and got some Q-tips. This always helps me. I'm just going to put a little oil here to use. But I always like using Q-tips for stuff like this because I can get into little areas that I otherwise wouldn't be able to clean. And look at the difference. So there's a little tip for you. Pipe cleaner can help with some of this stuff too. Give it a nice wipe down with the rag. I don't need to overload the oil in there. Now I can clean all this up. And once again, the Q-tip will help for some of this. Might even use the pipe cleaner again. Just giving every component a nice little wipe down. Now before I clean any other parts of the gun, I'm going to get this put back together. I don't want to risk possibly forgetting something or losing one of these little pieces. So here I go. I grabbed it the same direction. That's sliding back in. Once again, I don't think it matters. I mean, they look identical, but I'm not taking any chances. All right. That goes in there. Then we take this. This slides in right here. Once again, for this, I need this little notch pointing towards me, the rear of the gun. It's very important. Looks pretty good. And I'll know if that's good based on if this slides all the way through. Oops, my spring fell off of there. Obviously, it's going through. If it wasn't lined up, it would not be going through there. So I'm holding this and this. In here, and this will allow my pin to go in right there. That's holding that there. At this point, the last thing is this, and I don't need to put that in right now. I can put that part in later. I'll be honest, I've heard this before, and that used to worry me. That's really just that big spring going back and forth. Apparently that's totally normal. Action works right with that, so good to go there. Now I'm going to just clean some other components of this. As far as trigger guard goes, I don't trust myself to pull this apart completely. I'm really just going to wipe it down with the oiled cloth, and this is where I'm going to really just use the Q-tip to get in there as, you know, as much as I can, but I don't trust myself to pull this apart fully and risk it, you know, not putting back together correctly. I don't even know if people do take this apart fully. Some drops of oil up and around the rotating parts of this can be useful. Don't overdo it, but just getting everything cleaned out in here. Q-tips help so much to reach those tricky areas. For the bore, I like to run a piece of paracord through it, and then got a microfiber cloth at the bottom of it with some bore cleaner on it, and I pull that through. Nice and shiny. Alright, gun's cleaned. I used a small screwdriver to pop out those plastic caps, essentially, for the tapping. Obviously, the reason I was initially doing this is to put the Vortex Viper Red Dot sight on there. So now I'm going to be able to do that. But for this video, I'm going to just now put it back together. You saw how I cleaned it, took it apart. Here's how I put everything back together. So I'm going to start with the trigger guard. I'm going to push this down so that this slides in easier. And make sure that that lines up right there so that I can slide this pin back through. Might need to adjust it ever so slightly. There we go. That's in. Good to go. Alright, after that, the rail piece gets slid over the spring, and that fits right here on that track. From here, you got to take your bolt. Alright, and you're sliding it. It fits right in those grooves there. You can kind of see right there how it fits in that groove. Slide that back in. Once you get into here, take your pin. I don't know if I wiped that down too good. Give it a quick little finger clean. And that's going right into this. That's in. That holds it in place now. I know it's crazy how that doesn't have to go in much. Honestly, I never even knew that pulled out until recently. And from here, the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Take your barrel. Oh geez, my dumb self. Forgot to put this on. Yeah, it would help if you put this on first. Use this as an opportunity to make sure it's lubricated nice. Because there's pressure there, this is where I was saying, if you pull this back, it's easier to screw on your magazine cap without pressure. And there you have it. That is a complete disassembly and reassembly of the Franchi Affinity 3. Along with showing how to pop these out from the inside to add on something like a red dot sight, which I'm going to do shortly. Hope this video helped you guys. Maybe don't be like me and wait 4 years to take it apart and clean it. Doing it a little more regularly will help in the long run.